going on, people? It's gonna be a little bit different. This video might not be for everyone, but this video is gonna be for me. I want to talk about something that I was never really allowed to talk about growing up. Something that was pretty much forbidden growing up. It's something that only, I want to say, about 5, maybe 10% of people in my life know about. And that's it's a small number. It's about something that I've had to hide pretty much my whole life. It's something that really shouldn't have been hidden, something that I should have been able to talk about and share with people and express my feelings towards it. Now that I do have a platform with people who do want to listen to what I have to say, I feel that I could talk about this. And I feel that I could share with people who want to listen to what I have to say. I mean, this is what this whole channel is for me to voice opinions. I'm not here to put blame on anyone. I'm not here to make anyone look like the bad guy. Like I'll explain everything and you could make that judgment for yourself on who was in the wrong, who, I don't know, maybe owe someone an apology about all this. I just want to finally be able to tell people what I went through growing up and see if anyone had something similar, something that they would want to share too. Years ago, there was this woman. She was young, smart, funny, beautiful, loved by everyone. She was a single mother struggling to provide for her son. She worked as a cashier and had hopes of going and finishing college. She tried her best, and honestly that's all that really mattered, the effort. Then one night she never made it home. Her son had to learn about life and death at the age of 6, about 2 weeks before Christmas. And that was me. That was that little boy. So I really don't know how to go about talking about it. It's just that lately I've been feeling, I don't know. I've been feeling something build up and I really don't know what it is. And I've been going through a lot behind the scenes of all this. And I figured it's just best to let it out. Just to let it all out. And I don't know, maybe that'll make me feel better and maybe that'll put me at ease in a way. So, I'm sorry if I cry. I won't go into details on how it happened, but it was sudden, it was unexpected. And it was on December 13th. Which, if I edit this, will be the anniversary. 22 years. I was 6 and had to attend the funeral of my own mother. I mean, it's expected that the child will outlive the parent. And I did. And it does happen suddenly. I mean, it's happened to kids younger than I was at the time, and that's not fair either. I don't know, it would have been nice to, I'm sorry. It would have been nice to get a couple more years. I mean, I didn't even get. So it's really hard to say. Hold on. I'm trying to hurry this up so it's not dragging and taking up a lot of your time, but she didn't even attend my kinder graduation. Like, I got a couple birthdays, couple holidays. I mean, I shouldn't be greedy and ask for more. I just feel like it's something that's owed to me. Let's try and get through the rest of this. My father and mother were separated. I would occasionally see him every once in a while, but for the majority of the time, it was me and my mom living at my grandparents' house, and I love that house. I remember crying for days after it happened, and just when I thought the crying was gonna stop, and I was gonna try and adjust, move on, I was hit with like another like wave of bad news. My dad, who I had seen only every once in a while at this point, decided that I was going to go live with him about an hour away from my grandparents, and then I was going to move in with him and his new girlfriend. Him, his new girlfriend, her 2 sisters, and her mom, which was good. Like, I love that family. They took me in, they cared about me. I still stay in contact with them. I talk to them quite often. I'm seen as the cooler older cousin to their kids, which is really awesome. I mean, they are my family. And you know, at the time I was becoming a happy kid. I was adjusting. I thought my life wasn't going to get normal after this. And it did. Every other weekend I would still get to see my grandparents. Most of the time they would drive all the way to go pick me up, just so I could go spend 2 days with them at their house. And I loved it. I kept this up until my senior year of high school. You know, all throughout elementary, I would go spend my weekends. Middle school, high school, I would spend my weekends with my grandparents. Just show how much I love them. Occasionally in my teenage years, I would occasionally skip like a weekend here or there, but never more than 2 weekends. I would never go more than a month without seeing them. Going back to school was super hard. I remember Mother's Day came up in 1st grade. Everyone was making Mother's Day cards. I didn't know what to do. I felt that I didn't have a mom. What am I supposed to do? I felt like that day didn't matter to me anymore. I felt that, to me, it was just a regular day that I wasn't allowed to celebrate it, or that I wasn't good enough for it. I remember looking at everyone decorating their cards, putting glitter, drawing pictures, and while people were already wrapping up, I still had a blank piece of paper in front of me. There was this teacher aide. I don't remember my 1st grade teacher's name, but I remember this teacher aide, Mr. Garza. Anyone who went to Pearson knows Mr. Garza. He's a legend. He's pretty much Mr. Feeney to me. He checks in on me still from 1st grade. In 6th grade, he found me in 6th grade. We had lunch. He told me about his life. I told him about mine. He didn't forget about me. In high school, he saw me walking in the parking lot at HEB, recognized me right away. Went up to me, we talked. It was cool. He found out when I graduated after high school, he found out I was working at Toys R Us. He went and surprised me. We caught up. We joked around. And he would always ask about my mom. He would always ask how I was feeling about it, if I wanted to talk about it. He's a good guy. Even, not surprised that he's, been Teacher of the Year in his district for years. He's won so many awards because he's a pretty good guy. A really good guy. Well, in 1st grade, he saw me, holding back tears that I want to cry in front of everyone, and look what I'm doing right now. He took me outside. He told me I could cry. I started crying. He started crying. And he told me I still get to celebrate Mother's Day. He told me I could still celebrate Mother's Day. He said, just write a letter to her, letting her know how you're feeling, letting her know that you miss her, and anything else that I would want to tell her as if she was still there. I wrote a 2-page paper. I wrote 2 pages of how I felt as a 1st grader, and 2 pages of what was going on in my mind, what I wanted to tell her. My grandma would have got that letter laminated, and let's go leave it to her on Mother's Day. I think there's a copy somewhere. I need I'll look to see if I still have a copy of that somewhere. I'm sure my grandma does. But yeah, he made me feel like I wasn't some different kid. Like I wasn't some weird kid that didn't have a mom or anything. So Mr. Garza, I hope this finds you, and thank you. Years went on, and Mother's Day always was a weird time for me. It still is. I remember making up excuses on Mother's Day, saying that, I messed up the project, can I start over? Just so I would be able to do, 2 cards, where we did like some ceramic lollipops, some ceramic flowers. I would always pretend I messed mine up and ask to do another just so I could have two. I would make one so I could go leave for my mom, and then make one for, you know, my dad's girlfriend, who was the mother figure that was helping raise me at this time, and, you know, I love her for that. I mean, I appreciate her. She basically became a teen mom to help take care of me. I appreciate it. I love her for that. But I still never called her mom. And that wasn't to be mean. That wasn't to make her feel bad or anything. It's just that I had my mom. That title was given to someone that was taken from me. I didn't want to just move that title over to someone else. I felt that that was disrespectful to her. I felt that maybe if someone else held that title, I would forget about her. I just only have that one person. I only have one person that I'll ever call mom. And that's just my thing. Maybe I'm a bad guy for doing that. Maybe I'm a bad son for that. But I just don't think I would ever be ready to call someone else mom. Let's fast forward a few more years. My dad and his girlfriend end up having a daughter. They get married. They have a son. So I have a brother and sister. That's awesome. I love having a brother and sister. I love them a lot. But I was forced to hide the fact that I had another mom. Wasn't allowed to put pictures up of her. I had one picture that I would keep in a little wooden frame, and I would keep that in my backpack for years. I think I had that from 5th grade all the way to 8th grade. I would keep her picture in my backpack with me every day at school. On my mom's birthday, and every year on December 13th, my dad would take me to the store, and I would get to pick whatever flowers, balloons I wanted to go leave at the cemetery, which was awesome. It shouldn't be something a kid should look forward to, but I did, because it was rare when I actually got to go visit and, you know, have a few minutes just to talk to her. So after an emotional day like that, me and my dad would go back home. My brother and sister would ask, where were you? What were you doing? Where'd you go? And I had to lie about it. I had to just say, oh, I had something at school, or I had to go help dad run errands, or we were at the store. Like, I felt, it made me feel dirty that I had to hide something so important to me from everyone. I mean, this went on forever at the expense of, you know, not hurting anyone's feelings. I had to, you know, go through all that. And my brother and sister are now 15 and 20. I'm still not able to just tell them the truth. They're smart enough to where they could ask questions, and they have asked questions like, why don't I look like their mom? Why would I go with my grandma, which to them they were told it's just a friend of the family that I was really close to. Why weren't they allowed to go? Why was it only me? I think my sister at one point found a picture of my mom and it was a picture of me, my mom, and my dad, and she asked, who is this woman with dad? And I don't know the line my dad came up with for that one. But they have the pieces to the puzzle. They just don't know what the puzzle looks like. But, you know, this in a way is me just telling them that, you know, I was forced to hide it from them. I was forced to lie to them because they just didn't want me to spill the truth. I'm sorry. I love my brother and sister. I don't see any step between them. I don't see no step brother. I don't see no step sister. Like, these are my siblings. I take care of them, especially a lot lately. I have been trying to be a mother and father to them, but that's a whole nother story for another video on why that is. Maybe I'll tell it. Due to problems, I left home right after high school. I was 19 and I left, and of course there's no other place I wanted to go but to my grandparents, so I went to go live with my grandparents. There had been money saved up, and I was able to get my own car, my first car. And I remember the first place I went once I got my car was to go get new tires. And then I went straight to the cemetery. I just love that freedom. Not the freedom of having a car and being able to go wherever you want. The freedom of me just being able to go to the cemetery and not have to, you know, wait for weeks until someone decided they wanted to take me, or wait for a special occasion. I was able to go when I wanted to. So of course, like, as soon as I get that kind of freedom to go where I want, I'm gonna go to the cemetery. I remember spending about 3 hours there. I laughed, talked, I cried. It was something I had wanted for years. Just to be there, talking, no one else around, to where I could forget about the concept of time and just breathe. I have a daughter now, Emily. You've seen her in my videos. I'm always posting pictures of her. I love my daughter. I remember how excited my grandmother got when I let her listen to the recording of what the sex of my child was gonna be. I got to hear it first. Well, me and Jennifer heard it first. And we were there at my grandma's when we heard it. I wanted to surprise my grandma, and I played the recording for her, and she heard, "Congratulations, it's a girl." I've never seen my grandma like jump and scream. She was so happy. And I knew why. I look a lot like my mother, so hopefully my child would too. And she does a lot. Like a crazy amount. I go to every family gathering. Everyone says, "Oh, she looks just like Melissa. She's just like her," and I love hearing it. I love that she's not forgotten. I love that people were able to experience happiness from looking at her. Even my great grandfather, who we lost last year, he was already going through, elderly problems with in terms of memory. He was never really able to grasp her name, Emily. So he would call her Melissa. It didn't bother me. I loved it. My great-grandmother also just knows her as Melissa. I know Emily's confused and she doesn't understand it. So a few days ago I told her the truth. I told her the story of her grandmother. I told her what happened. I took her to the cemetery and she understands a little bit better. I mean, she's older than I was when it happened, so she should be able to grasp it a little bit more. As a matter of fact, today we were walking around Walmart and we saw some flowers. And she pulled my hand and she said, "Let's take some to your mom." I started crying at Walmart, like, I've never had someone so open about talking about it. And for her, it was just right off the tongue, like, "Let's take these." I thought we were gonna get the flowers for your mom. And of course, it had to be my daughter that had to, like, give me that kind of feeling. But yeah, like, I feel better. I'm sorry I was crying so much on camera. I hold it in all year. And around this time of year, that's when I start feeling a little bit down. I start getting really bitter about stuff. And as soon as I let a little bit out, it all comes out. And I think that's what's happening right now. But if you made it all this way, I want to thank you for putting up with me and listening to my story. And I just want to thank you all. Next time I'll talk about TV or something, I swear.